we're back again. I'm Tina.
And I'm Kelly.
And today we're going to be talking about chores in the house. Now, Kelly, I am a firm believer of chores. I don't even think it's a question of whether you should get your child to do chores, but I think it's more of a question of
implementation.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. In my house, it's not an option. It's just part of your day. And, years, Tina, of trying to figure out what works for us. And we finally came up, we were doing week rotations, but then, you'd get into the second week and they'd say, well, the person before me didn't do it, so I didn't do it. And it just, so now we've come up with permanent chores, and we don't even call them chores, we just call them responsibilities.
That's right.
Because if you call it chores, then it's an option, and are we getting paid for no, you're not getting paid for that. It's your responsibility living in the Stitzel home. And so one person, and we talk to the kids too and find out what they like. My oldest loves the dishes. I know she's a little odd. But she loves the dishes, so that's her responsibility. And then we know who to go to when a dish is dirty. Hey, so.
And she doesn't complain that she does the dishes all the time?
No, because we had that discussion and we tried to, she did the dishes for 6 months, and then I said, okay, let's rotate. 6 months.
Wow, okay.
And then I said, let's rotate, and she said, no, I like the dishes. And everybody else is like,
can she come to my house?
But no, we did rotate the other kids because they did complain. She's just not a complainer, and she enjoys it. So we rotate.
Have one of those.
Yeah, I know. So we rotate. One's in charge of the living room, one's in charge of the laundry, and one's in charge of sweeping.
Yeah.
And garbage.
Yeah.
Garbage.
Yeah, I'd have to say that we're probably still figuring out the best. Mind you, this is after 8 kids.
Yes.
So if you don't get it down pat and you have 2 or 3, you're totally fine, because we're still working on it after 8.
And it's organic, so it changes every time you add a child.
Right. And the needs increase.
Correct.
But here's the thing. Your household is continuing to increase in number or size or chaos, especially if this is your first year homeschooling. And it's not fair to expect one person, usually
AKA
mom, or even 2 people to take on all the responsibilities of everybody. And it's just as much a part of their homeschooling to learn to be responsible and to help out in the house. When I was growing up, I didn't really have to do many chores. They weren't required of me. I grew up in a split home, and so we swapped houses. We were living at this house for a certain time and then going to that house at a certain time, and it was back and forth and back and forth. And I don't know if maybe they just didn't have us do so many chores because maybe they felt bad for the kids or something. I'm not sure. But I do actually see it as a little bit of a detriment actually in my adult life.
Yes.
Because I'm the messy in my house. My husband, when we first got married, and this is actually when I first realized how messy I was. One time we were living in Sydney at the time, my husband's Australian, and I walked into the bedroom and you could literally draw a line down the center of the room. My side, there was stuff thrown everywhere, and his side was pristine, and it was like I walked into a brick wall. So I'm trying to overcome that about myself. Sometimes I call it organized chaos. But having the kids help is just a lifesaver. And it's not that you're sitting around doing nothing. You're not going to be painting your toenails and eating bonbons while your children are loading the dishwasher for you.
But if you are, that's okay.
Yeah. Everyone, if you are, we're coming to your house.
I know, right?
That's funny. Yeah. It's a necessity, I would say, in homeschooling. And so one of our previous shows, we had talked about planning and talked about scheduling. And we were saying about putting in the non-negotiables. Right? Do you remember that? We had lunchtime, we had nap time, we had if kids were doing online classes or if they were in choir or band or sports or something. I would put chores in there. In fact, I always do.
non-negotiable.
And I also think another thing that's really helpful with chores is to have a set in the morning before school starts, and to have a set in the evening
Yes.
right before dinner. You know, there's sort of always those after meal chores as well, but there is no way that a mom can be expected, or dad, but usually mom, to school every child at every subject on every level. If you have a 7th grader and a 5th grader and a 10th grader, right, and clean the house and cook for everybody. You can't do all that. And so it's imperative that moms, you teach those kids from a young age to help around the house.
And the younger, the better. I mean, my 4-year-old, he does the shoe room, and all he has to do is organize shoes.
Yes.
But he's not 4 anymore. Can you believe that? He's almost 8. But I'm saying,
I'm sitting here thinking, who's your 4-year-old, Kelly?
no, I don't have a 4-year-old anymore. My baby's almost 8.
Aww.
But
yeah, but they can learn. I know what you mean. They certainly can. Dustpan and broom is great for those little ones.
Yes.
Or actually, I know this sounds silly, but just a wet sponge or a little spray bottle with water, because it's super safe. And just get them wiping a table. They love it, and you really want to capitalize on that when they're that young.
yeah,
So
get them when they're young.
absolutely, so that when they're 8, 9, and 10, they don't start
already
complaining.
ingrained.
Yeah, they know how to do it. So
All right.
there we go. That's our little segment on chores. So get those kids working. We'll see you next time. Bye.